speaker today, Bill Hubley, is Managing Principal of Corbett Duncan and Hubley, and Bill's areas of concentration include middle market, business strategic planning, and organizational alignment of strategy, people, and resources. And I do have to say that Bill's the third name on that title, Corbett Duncan and Hubley, and Corbett is here with us and has spoken previously. Dan Duncan was with us earlier this summer at one of our events, and now we finally get Bill Hubley. So Bill, would you join us here, please?
Well, thanks, Jim, and thanks to my newfound friend Ed here in the front cheering me on. I appreciate it. Good afternoon. I want to try to set some expectations for my presentation. I think it's important to understand I'm not an economist. I don't claim to be an economist, so don't hold me to my predictions. I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. If I did, I wouldn't be here right now doing some other things. But I want to try to give you a perspective that comes from our clients, from our middle market businesses. We have over 650 middle market businesses that we serve in our firm. And while we represent most industries, I'll say a concentration of those clients are in the manufacturing and distribution industry. We've heard a lot about manufacturing, construction, real estate, and professional services. I think an interesting aspect that we bring to it from a middle market CPA firm is that many of our clients are international based. So we do a lot of international business, which will have a little bit different flavor that you'll see from a local CPA firm. So my comments are going to be based on experiences that we've learned from our clients, where they've been in 2013, where they expect to go in 2014. And I'll share those with you now. Relative to the economy, most of our clients really expect the economy to continue moderate growth into 2014. If you've been involved with closely held businesses and entrepreneurs, you'll realize that most of them are very positive and upbeat, and I think this continues in their really what they expect the economy to do for 2014. So we're looking for continued moderate growth in 2014. It's really consistent with the news today. When I pulled up the Wall Street Journal, I noticed that they restated third quarter growth in the economy, I think up to like 3.6%. So we're seeing continued growth in the economy, and we expect to see that going forward. The biggest concerns that our clients have that could impact the economy, we're seeing are, what's going on in the federal government relative to budget negotiations and debt ceiling negotiations. That's going to fire up again in early 2014, and we'll see what impact that has on our middle market businesses. Also, what's the Fed going to do? I mean, if the Fed could just send 1 month's $85 billion to the state of Illinois, I think we'd cut into that $100 billion problem that we got going on. So, but in all seriousness, what are they going to do? Are they going to basically stop funding? And if they do, what does that mean for borrowing costs associated with middle market businesses? Are those going to spike? What's the access to capital going to be, et cetera? On the financial side, our companies that we represent are expecting to grow. In general, at about a 4 to 6% top line revenue growth for 2014. There are certain industries that expect higher top line revenue growth. The automobile industry is going real well as far as revenue, and tier 2 and 3 suppliers that we represent in the automobile industry. Other industries like construction, commercial construction, are still struggling. The companies that are there today, it's very competitive. It's extremely competitive on the commercial side. So they don't expect a lot of growth, but they do expect some success in 2014. Gross profit and net profit, we expect to see that sort of remaining flat from 2013 to 2014. And that's going to be based on additional price increases that customers just can't pass along to their customers. The biggest wild card that we see relative to 2014 financial performance for middle market business is the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. I think everybody in the room is well aware of what's going on there. There have been a lot of initial concerns about premium increases and how that's going to impact middle market business. We're starting to see that come through now. It's not pretty. We have a lot of clients that are experiencing double-digit increases in their premium costs. 15 to 20% and higher. And that's a tough cost to absorb. They can't necessarily pass that along to their customers. They're looking at ways to deal with that issue, okay, and how they're restructuring their plans or maybe self-insuring, but it's a big issue. It's a huge issue. And we'll sort of see how that plays out into 2014. You hear a lot of noise relative to companies saying, oh, well, we're not going to offer health care coverage to our employees. We'll just pay the fines, or we'll give them a stipend. But I think it's going to take a year or two to sort of play that out and see what's going to happen. The biggest issue is, if you're not offering that benefit and your competitors are, how do you get and keep talent in your organizations? That's really critical. Some other opportunities, I think immediate opportunities that you can look at if you're a middle market business owner. There's some big changes relative to bonus depreciation going away in 2014. Also, the Section 179 expensing opportunity is going to decrease from $500,000 in 2013 to $25,000 in 2014. So we have a lot of middle market businesses that are buying capital expenditure type items now, putting them in service so that they can take the accelerated depreciation on those items, because that's going to go away. R&D is a big issue for middle market businesses. It doesn't necessarily sound like it might apply, but it does. That too is going away. The R&D credit is set to expire at the end of the year. Typically that's been renewed on an annual basis. We'll see what happens with that. Our expectation would be that it would be renewed. But what we've seen in our firm is there are many middle market businesses that aren't taking advantage of the R&D credit that could. And there are some significant credits available there. So you want to look at that. Something that's sort of popped up recently towards the end of 13, I think it's going to continue in 14, is what's going on in the mergers and acquisition market, the M&A market. We've seen valuations start to come back a bit, and that's forcing our middle market business owners to take a look at whether or not they want to sell their businesses based on these increased multiples. Those multiples have really been hit hard over the past couple of years, but we're starting to see some resurgence back in that area. One other key threat that we've seen a lot of in 13, we think it's going to continue in 14, are the increased audits by federal, state, and local governments. Okay, if you're doing business outside the state of Illinois and other states or local government areas, they're looking for revenue, they're auditing businesses, you need to be prepared for that. We're doing a lot of state nexus studies for our clients to determine what their risks are in other states, and then doing voluntary disclosures to cut off penalties and interest associated with those types of situations. So I think we're going to see that continuing based on the fact that Illinois and other states are looking for revenue. But there's one issue that I think most middle market businesses are missing, and I think it's a big issue in 2014 going forward. And that is, how are you positioning your business and your leadership team in your business and the culture of your organization to compete going forward? And why I think that's critical is the pace of change in our world is accelerating at a rapid pace. And things are different all the time. It's a global economy. You know all the technological advances that happen every day. There's increased access to information. If you're bombarded with information, you can pull out your smartphone. If you're on Twitter or any other type of social media, you're constantly being bombarded with information.